games are being ruined by DEI and wokeness, and this didn't used to be how games were, so games are bad now, no fun anymore. No, yeah, I can't keep going with this. Games aren't objectively worse than they used to be. You're just sad that your hobby isn't bringing you the joy it used to. And that's because you are sad, not because games are bad now. Let's talk about it, shall we? You know, I was actually really struggling to come up with a topic for my next major video. I was racking my brain to come up with something, anything thought-provoking to be talked about, and it was a Reddit post of all things that got me thinking about it. On r/gaming circle jerk of all things, I saw yet another video talking about how games aren't fun anymore, and I wrote the post before I even realized what I was saying, and realized that the topic is perfect. Games aren't worse than they used to be. Games aren't all bad. On the contrary, we're in a deluge of amazing games, some of the best of all time. So then why don't you get the same spark you used to get out of gaming? I'm sure you remember it. That elation, that joy, those highs of an experience, sitting down on your carpeted floor, head tilted at a 40-degree angle, a focused glare with mouth slightly agape as you lost hours into an experience. The world was so bright, so cheery, so breathtaking. You can only imagine what the future holds. You remember, gaming was so much better back then. No worries, no politics, no wokeness, just you and the tapestry of a tale being personally spun for you and only you. Everything was flawless, and you wonder where that feeling went to. No game captures that kind of magic for you anymore. Clearly it must be DEI and wokeness. Damn you, sweet baby ink, ruining gaming. Clear that has to be it. So you go back, playing that one game that inspired you to enjoy this medium to the fullest. You drum up your old console or download it, pop it on your Ultra 8K curved screen, lean back in your chair and prepare to lose yourself in that euphoric high of how gaming used to be. So perfect. So you start playing, and keep playing, and playing. And it isn't that you aren't having fun, mind you, but it just isn't hitting the same. So you keep playing, but you start noticing things that you sure weren't there the last time you played. Weren't the colors brighter? The sounds more joyful? Wait, was that trans character always there? What's going on? Some of you finished the game. Some of you stopped because you just aren't hitting that same high anymore. Maybe the game was just way worse than you imagined? But that can't be. This game was flawless. There was literally nothing wrong with it in the version in your head. So what's going on? Was gaming always bad? Nope. Gaming has always been gaming. There will always be good and bad games. What is different is you. You are sad. And I'm not saying this as an insult. I'm saying that innocent, bright-eyed, hopeful about the world child is gone, and all that is left is a jaded adult more worried about work, paying bills, family, life in general, the future, etc., etc. You don't miss how gaming used to be. You miss that feeling of joy that gaming gave you when all you had to worry about was doing your homework, where your hardest struggle was how you were going to get money out of your parents for a honey bun at school. You miss having no real worries, knowing everything was going to be okay, how the world looked bright and cheery. Hell, I'm willing to bet you're imagining how much brighter days used to be compared to how they are now. You equate those feelings to your days of gaming away without a care and link that happiness to the games themselves instead of the hope you had in life. So as you get older and that spark slowly drained out of you, your views shifting from what is happening at school to what is happening around the world, your political views being shaped by what you see, what you do, who you interacted with, things about you change, and what you truly miss were those halcyon days of naivety and innocence that allowed you to focus on just having fun. Nothing was political back in the day because you didn't care about the politics in games. You didn't see that gay or trans character, you just saw a character. You didn't have the fear that war brings to a society and the dangers of a strong military complex. You just saw mechs shooting nukes. You didn't see the dangers of final stage capitalism. You just saw a massive wasteland where you got to shoot hulks with a grenade launcher alongside your trusty dog companion. Life was simpler when you didn't have to worry about any of those things. Gaming is never going to be as good as you imagined it. It's why when you go back and play games of your youth, you start noticing all the little issues and problems that you didn't notice back then. You never get the same spark that you did in your youth, and you assume that's because gaming is worse, when really what is going on is that your innocence is long since dead. Nothing that you do will really bring back that joy either. Sure, you will find a game every once in a while that really brightens or reminds you of those times long ago, but that same spark and hopefulness for what comes next? Nah, that's gone forever. So what? We should just give up on the thing we love? Hell no! I mean, don't let it consume your life, of course, but it's a hobby. And if it is a hobby that you enjoy it for what it is, and look for games and experiences that nevertheless bring you that joy. Oh, also, think about getting off social media at least for a little bit. Trust me, your enjoyment of things and your life in general will improve 10x once you leave it for even a tiny amount of time. Alright, so you know what's going on here. My general end of the video thoughts that tend to be longer than the actual video, but as always, Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have any excuse for why I haven't been on, or haven't made this video, or haven't been uploading. I've just been lazy this entire last month. I don't know. I'm just being honest about it. If you hate that, feel free. I can't blame you for being upset. But let's talk about the things in basically this entire month that I haven't talked about yet. And I know I'm gonna miss a few things because duh. Let's talk about some fighting game stuff. First, we have Sparking Zero. You know, that Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game that came out. People were raving about it. Everyone was loving it at first, and people have since tapered off because that's how games like this always go. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, just it was always going to happen. Apparently, one of their tournaments, though, one of their tournaments. So, apparently, one of the best ways to play that game at the highest level is to lame it out like it's fucking Cross Tekken, where it's just like get your life lead and then spam flying up and down and up and down and up and down as an android with infinite energy, which is lore accurate, but it's also just a really, really lame play. And at one of the big tournaments for it, I think it's like first major tournament, literally one person would get the life lead by getting a single hit and then fly up and down. And like the commenters were bitching about it, the people watching were bitching about it, so much so that they literally didn't turn off the stream, but like clicked off from the match itself, and we just had the commenters audio. Apparently, I think by now they've probably fixed it, but the fact that unironically lame it out was one of the strongest tactics is just really funny. We have some news when it comes to Street Fighter 6 that is making me feel like I'm being gaslit, because people are currently complaining that Street Fighter 6 is so stale and so boring, and that people need to go back to Street Fighter 5. And I'm just kind of guffawed and baffled. I'm not going to say people are wrong for not enjoying current meta of Street Fighter 6. I mean, yeah, that's what happens. A meta is going to get developed, and people are going to literally grind the fun out of games like that. That's what happens with literally every game. But to hear people say, oh man, we need to go back to Street Fighter 5 is crazy to me. Now, I will be fair with this argument and say that the end point of Street Fighter 5 was a good game. But I need everyone to not sit here and act like early Street Fighter 5 was the pinnacle of anything, with its literally not even functioning netcode, people having to create like third-party mods to make it play online well, how broken some of the V triggers were early on. Early Street Fighter 5 wasn't good. We're not going to sit here and act like it was. But again, I think people just are reminiscing about the end point of Street Fighter 5, which was a good game at that point. Early on, no, it was not. And that's crazy. Last but not least, when it comes to fighting games, we have Maximilian Dude literally saying, fine, I'll do it myself. And if you watch Maximilian Dude over the years, you know that when it comes to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that game that basically everyone fell off for because of the visuals being subpar, the gameplay being subpar to compare. Or actually, to be fair, the gameplay wasn't subpar, but the issues of the bad visuals and the ugly texturing and all that stuff compared to Marvel vs. Capcom 3 made people drop that game like a goddamn brick. Max, however, was continuing to be a component for this game is good. Please, guys, take a good look at this game. So much so that he has now paid a bunch of people. He literally got a team of people developing and creating new content, improving the visuals, making it look more like an actual comic book stylings like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and effectively personally funded a mod called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond, adding new characters, improving the visuals, and making it basically the ultimate version of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And you gotta give him props. That man said, I want to play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I'm going to make it good so I can play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Respect. Maximilian dude continuing to put the goddamn FGC on his back with shit like that. What else to talk about? Oh, right. In some depressing news, let's talk about Dauntless. Whoo, boy, Dauntless. So for those who don't know, Dauntless was kind of like that PC Monster Hunter game that came out before Monster Hunter World, right? You gotta, for the longest time, remember, Monster Hunter was really just a mobile game. It was played on your mobile devices, your DS, your 3DSs. It was a Wii game. It was a PSP game. It was kind of seen as that game you played on the, at least in Japan, played that game you played on the train during your trips. It was that kind of game, you know? And it wasn't until Monster Hunter Worlds that it got to see more of a presence on consoles, you know, and PC. Dauntless kind of got in a little bit earlier and was seen as this PC Monster Hunter game because we thought we weren't gonna get a PC Monster Hunter game. And for the most part, it was plugging along just fine. And then about a year ago, a bunch of crypto tech bros bought the company, and its newest update has tanked the game, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know too much about Dauntless, because I very clearly do not. But it's not hard to go and see videos about people talking about how it is just shit now, and it has become straight up pay to win. So, rip that. Oh, going back to fighting games. Speaking of fighting games, so some random, unknown, no presence in the, like, modding scene guy literally just put Dio Brando into DBZ Fighters, and it looks really good, and he plays like a DBZ fighter character, and it's like, who are you to be able to put this much time and effort and work into this? And so yeah, Google that shit. It looks really good. Give it a try if you are still into playing DBZ Fighters. And another fighting game thing I forgot to mention before we get off fighting games, the trailer for Mai Shiranui dropped. It looks good. She looks good. She looks like Mai. I don't really know how you can mess up Mai, so yeah, she looks good. The only thing about it is that her hair looks a lot darker than I kind of expected. Like, in the trailer, her hair looks black, and I've always seen her as a more brown-headed woman. Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It doesn't, like, make the design terrible or anything. It's just, you know, it's like, is your hair brown? Yeah, it's whatever. Oh, Concord. Let's talk about Concord. So, Concord, you know, that game that came out for 2 weeks, died, Sony's attempt to get into Overwatch scene way too late kind of thing. Yeah, that one. So it turns out Secret Level has like a video compilation thing that shows a bunch of like little animations and cool things for different video games throughout modern history, old history when it came to games. And Concord had a Secret Level episode showcasing Sony really expected Concord to pop the fuck off, and it very, very much did not do that, and I find that hilarious. How much fucking money did Sony waste on this? From the get-go, it is the perfect showcase that these companies do not, I'm telling you, literally do not have any idea what's going on. It's actually kind of embarrassing, but again, whatever. Some FF14 drama. So, FF14's new Ultimate trial, Futures Rewritten Ultimate, the world first clear had the team person that took the screenshot. It turns out they were cheating. And the funny thing is, it was showcased that they were cheating based off a singular red dot on their screenshot screen. And it's like, this keeps happening. People want to keep down talking like other servers for not being up to par quality wise or skill wise when it comes to Japan, but it keeps being Japanese players who keep using cheats for this world first clear. Unironically, I think we need to make it so that if you want your world first clear to be considered like legitimate at all, when it comes to going for world first, mind you, if you want to use it afterwards, I don't care. But when it comes to world first clears, I unironically think every single player should be having to stream or some showcase that they aren't cheating, because this needs to stop happening. Let's talk about some non-video game related news that happened in this month with Drake straight up admitting that he lost this beef with Kendrick Lamar because he's suing UMG and Spotify. Now, mind you, technically he's not suing UMG and Spotify. What he's actually doing is petitioning them to showcase that they actually kind of artificially inflating the play times of Not Like Us. But the fact that he's doing this is just straight up admitting, oh, so you lost. You lost the rap battle. You admit that Kendrick is better than you because you're suing right now. It's constantly kind of pathetic. Now, mind you, to play devil's advocate with this, there is a little bit of like realism with what's going on, because think about it. Basically, with Drake, up to this point, was the biggest artist in the world when it came to the rap game. And because of that, he was able to have such a market share that he was able to like push his influence more to negotiate better deals with UMG, with Spotify, to say, give us more money. So if UMG was playing to that and actively pushing the song more, he would have some grounds to say, hey man, you were just trying to make me look bad and thus reduce my market share and thus get a better deal because no one's wanting to listen to me anymore. However, if he tries to push this, then it might come out that beforehand, let's be real here. Remember a couple of years ago when every single time you wanted a Spotify, you would see Drake's face on the front page? How is that any different? So, god damn it, Drake, you're just being a little bitch right now. Let's be real here. What else am I gonna talk about? Oh, X Defiant. You remember X Defiant? You know, the COD Ubisoft game? Yeah, it's dead. It lasted, what, a month? What's there to say about it? We all kind of knew this was coming because it was just yet another one. I'm telling you right now, if Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't do gangbusters, that company is fucking dead. It's gone. Just full stop. And finally, we have the TGAs. With, now there's a lot of things that were announced. We got to see trailer for Witcher 4, where it's going to be Ciri as the main character now. That looks good. We got to see the It Takes Two devs making another game, Split Factions or something, or Split Fiction. I mean, their games have, their co-op split screen games have always been fun, so sure, more of those. Naughty Dog's newest game, Intergalactic, got showcased. What else got announced at the TGAs? A lot of things got announced at the TGAs. And I know I'm missing a lot, but I'm just trying to end this before it gets too long again like I normally do. But honestly, the biggest thing for me is that Okami is getting a sequel, like an official, proper sequel. And not only that, it's being given a sequel by Kamiya, the guy who made Okami back... Holy shit, how long has it been since he made Okami? Give me a second. He made Okami back in 2004? 2006. And now, almost 20 years later, he's getting to actually make a proper Okami 2. That is nuts. That is crazy to me. You know what? It's even funnier? Knowing the direction of Kamiya, this is hilarious. Because you gotta realize that Kamiya's been getting bounced around, and he has been getting flipped all over the place. He was with Capcom at first, where he was able to make work on Resident Evil 2. Right? He was the director of Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, Okami. He then split up to work for a subsidiary of Capcom from 2004 to 2006, where he did make Okami. He then left with a bunch of other former staff to go make Platinum Games, where he was the where he worked as a major player and then vice president. Wait, wasn't there a one between Clover and Platinum? I could have sworn Siege or something. Either way, he then worked for Platinum Games and realized, oh wait, Platinum's starting to go the same garbage way that I don't want to go to. I'm gonna leave? So now he's left Platinum and gone back to Capcom with a company called Clovers. Back to Capcom. It has come full circle. And that is hilarious to me. Either way. So I'm going to do my best to try to get this out before New Year's. If not New Year's, maybe the first day of the new year. I don't know. And I'm going to try to be a lot more active. Like, I want to try to platinum Monster Hunter Worlds to get ready for Monster Hunter Wilds in February. And start my next LP soon. Either way, I want everyone out there to have a good morning, evening, day, or night, maybe wrap. Right now, I am out. Later.